You might have grown up, but the inner child pops out every so often. That inner child is part of you, but feels disconnected from you for a reason. When left unaddressed, that trauma creates a pain that is unimaginable. It shows up when you least expect it, and that can be so painful. This is where you can develop coping strategies that can actually prevent you from healing, from processing that trauma. The idea is you want life to feel normal, but sometimes things happen that reminds you of what happened to you. You may end up using lots of substances to just self-soothe because that helps you to forget what you've been through. In those quiet moments when you have your thoughts, it almost feels unbearable and you just want to shut it down. Let's say you grew up with your needs not being met. Perhaps you had to fend for yourself. Perhaps you had to look after yourself, you had to grow up, you had to be an adult before you could be an adult. And that's something that shows up when your needs are not being met. You almost feel like you're that child again. You may have been told you are worthless, you would never amount to anything. As you grow older, you create the inner bully through internalization of those critical words that were said to you. We are referring to that harsh voice that discredits you, telling you that you don't deserve to be happy. You naturally distance yourself from that child that carries the memories and the emotional pain. You become so detached from that child, it almost feels like part of you is not making sense. You don't feel like you can relate. You feel threatened whenever that child pops up. Remembering those harsh words that were said to you will create this deep-rooted negative sense of self that you can't shake. And sometimes when you're starting to feel comfortable, it shows up in a way that enhances the pain. And that can be hard. As you navigate the world and you're trying to deal with what comes up, you can become quite punitive and you doubt yourself. You poke holes in everything that you do and you talk to yourself like you are worthless. And that's really, really hard. Sometimes you may become a people pleaser. You subjugate your needs. You worry about what people are going to say. You preempt situations and you go out of your way to make sure you don't get criticized by people. That's coping styles that can be addressed through therapy. In therapy, we look at how we can have a shared understanding of how this developed. We look at problem development. We look at what you really want to get out of therapy, what that will look like. In therapy, we start looking at grounding techniques. We need to do a lot of preparation for you to be able to tolerate the memories when they get processed. We look at a grounding technique that helps you to connect with your environment. It may be just noticing the room, looking around, picking 5 different objects, describing them in great detail. And then we look at maybe 4 things you can hear, the sounds. We open the window, listen to what's going on, cars in the distance, people's voices, dogs barking in the background. And then 3 things you can feel, and this could be internally. Maybe you're anxious and you can actually feel your heart beating really fast. Notice the clothes you're wearing, the fabric, maybe the hair around your shoulders, and maybe the wristwatch you're wearing. And then we look at 2 things you can smell, and most importantly, 1 thing you can taste. Even if you haven't been eating or drinking anything, we can stop to think about your favorite meal, taking a bite into something you enjoy eating, and then just allowing those senses to come to life and connecting with that will really make you feel grounded. So the purpose of doing trauma work is to help generate lots of self-compassion for that inner child. Guess what? When that inner child heals, you heal. When the inner child is feeling comforted and loved and nurtured and seen and heard, you relate better to the world around you. The idea is to let the inner child know that they are not alone. Therapy can offer you lots of options. There you have it. If you'd like to find out more about therapy, You can email us at info@freshstarttherapist.com and contact us on 0739581431.